Okay, this is one of my stories. I'm Laura, and welcome to my channel. If you like it, like and subscribe. I'm gonna be trying to post every week, like the day in the life of a psychic medium, or someone. I really call myself an angel medium, and what that means is I'm connecting with my guardian angels, higher positive forces, the source of all life, and then sometimes ascended masters from other religions come in too. It just depends. And one of my stories for this week is that I was driving with my son, and we're in Georgia, and in certain areas there's homeless people standing by the roads and things like that. And over the years I've noticed a lot of scams where I've seen people sitting out on the street, and then they had a child with them and they were trying to get money, and then you found out that they were drugging the kid to give money. So ever since I had that happen to me, I was like, I'm very skeptical, unfortunately. So I asked the angels, what should I do? Should I give money to them? What would be the best action for me? And what they said is to send prayers to them. And, so I would just say, I'm sending angels to this person. And I would just do it periodically wherever I went. I also had, when I went in Walmart, a girl come up and I was getting ready to check out, and she started begging me for money and to put money on a card for her. And I was just like, alarm bells intuitively were going off, like, okay, something's wrong with this girl. And I said, I will buy you food, but I'm not going to give you money, because I didn't trust what was happening there. And then all of a sudden she walks up, puts like $100, and then says, here's the gift card, put it on there. And I did not even say I was going to do that. And so ever since I've been having situations like that, I just pray for people, send angels to help them, unless I get a feeling like, okay, this person is legit, they really do need help, and they're not going to use it for something that will harm them. But my long story short, okay, driving along a road, and I saw this guy, and he had like a sign and stuff like that, and I was like, okay, what should I do, angels? And they said, pray for him. So I was just like, okay, I'm sending so many angels to help him. I just did a bunch of different types of things. And then when I started to leave, I saw out of the corner of my eye, an angel dressed in white was walking up to him to help him. And I actually saw this with my own eyes, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it does do something, even though I've been doing this for, a long time, over 10 years, over 15 years, it still amazes me how you can see spirit in action. Okay, so that was one of my stories. Now, I will be talking about more things that happen to me when I interact with other people or go out in public. And it's not always something where I'm reading all their stuff and all that. I don't go around reading everybody, because I've discovered over the years, if you keep yourself open, you're susceptible to the energy of the world, the yucky energy. We're in this like soup of energy. So like, for example, during the pandemic, I would walk in the grocery store and you would feel this heavy fear. And if I was open to that, I would have sucked that stuff in, take it home, and then be depressed or sad all day or whatever. The energy isn't like that in grocery stores anymore, I'm happy to say. But I'll share more of that. And when I go to the movies on a regular basis, I can experience different things based off of the theaters. And I have one story for the movie theaters, and this happened, I think, 2 weeks ago. But think of this kind of like my blog about the stuff that I'm witnessing as a spiritual person, okay? I go to this movie theater, and for whatever reason, I hate going in the bathrooms. I feel like I'm going to get robbed or mugged, but I realize it's kind of unrealistic for me to think that. So what I did is I'll just get bad feelings about places where things have happened, or things of that nature. And it's kind of funny, because outside of that movie theater, of one of the ones I go to, they always have cops sitting out there. And I'm just like, right when I see cops sitting outside of some place on a regular basis, that always puts alarm bells out for me, even though it was a nice area. And so I just asked the angels to cleanse and clear the place. Now, I clear the theaters a lot. This goes into my other story. Going to the movie theaters, if someone is sitting in a seat for hours at a time, I can feel their energy, and sometimes it's really gross. Like all of my senses are open, okay? And how this happened is, it was just years of perfecting a certain skill, and then a door opened, and then I was able to do another type of ability. Well, the sense of smell, like I can smell things, it's kind of weird, but the reason why it opened is because when you're doing a mediumship reading, departed people can bring you like smells of cigarette or cake, or so you can identify their favorite foods or things of that nature. But when you're in the physical world, I'll give you an example. I can smell the energy of people. And so somebody sits in a chair and I'm just, ugh. And so I have to kind of I just started doing this, is where I bless and clear the theaters and the movie theaters that I'm going to. And it does help a lot, because sometimes negative forces, you have all these different types of people going to the theaters. Negative forces could be lingering in there to feed off of the energy of people, because we're going through a lot of emotions in movies. You know, like they have this preview where Nicole Kidman is saying that, you know, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. And she's right about that, because we could go through all of those emotions, and then the negative forces are there kind of feeding off of that or whatever. And I would see them in the theater, where they would be on the side of the theater, or something would be messing with me in my seat, touching me, or I'd feel weird stuff in the seats. So I really cleanse and clear the theater and just bless everything. And also, and sometimes, you know, this is another thing that can happen at the movie theater, which some people can relate to that are watching this. Other people, it's just like a good story. Okay, so after I get in the theater, they show the trailers. And there's always something about demonic possession in the trailers. Okay, so I have to always deal with this. How am I going to handle this situation, seeing a preview like that? Because what happens for me is, when I watch stuff, I tune into it. So it's like a portal for me to tune into things. And so when that pops up, I kind of, you know, I'm staying in my own energy. I have like a defensive shield around me. But if I watch the preview, it's like I could allow negativity inside of me. So I have to be very careful about what I watch, what I do. Well, even though I am somebody that I like to go to haunted houses, I like to, you know, things like that. So there's a part of me that loves Halloween. So I have to handle it in a way that's safe for me. You know, if I'm going to go to these haunted houses, I have my shield up, I'm ready, I'm staying in my own energy. I'm not getting sucked into the energy of what they're projecting, okay? Even if it's made up, okay? So then, when I would be watching these horror trailers, sometimes negative forces would come up to me and start talking to me, or saying like things like, yeah, we're with you and all this, or trying to scare me, you know? And I've for a lot of people that might terrorize them, but if you've been doing this for a long time, you know that you don't give in to the fear. You're like, okay, if they could really hurt me, they would have by now. I have all my angels around me. I feel safe. So if you focus on, this is like a technique now. If you focus on feeling safe, you're in your own energy, I kind of just bless it, and I close the portal. I kind of visualize a white light over the screen, and I'm like, I'm closing all doorways, dimensions, gateways, portals within and around me. And then I just visualize white light over it, and then I am looking down. I'm not watching the trailer, or I'm thinking about something else, because unfortunately, that's what lower forces do. Is they, even in video games, if people play a lot of video games with demons in it, or they're like, well, but I'm killing them, I'm fighting them, it can be like a portal for, if you're so sucked into it and you're tuned into it, it's like a kind of a gateway, you know. Now, I'm not saying that happens for everybody, okay? But if you're like a super psychic person and you keep watching stuff of that nature, there was like a video game. Now, a lot of these games look really cool, you know, and there's one where you're like, you're I can't remember the name of the video game, but you're like in hell and you're fighting off these demons so you can get back up to heaven or whatever. And then every time you start killing people, the heavy metal music gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Well, what I watched this with my family, and I started picking up messages about it's like a way to tune into negativity. It's a way for that energy to come in, and you don't want to, you know, you don't want to have that. But unfortunately, a lot of teenage boys or men or women, some women do this too, they can get tuned into that stuff. So if you're a psychic medium, you do tarot cards, whatever, for a hobby, you have to pay attention to these things. You may just say, oh, that's just a game, but when you're a sensitive person, you tune directly into that. And whatever intentions the person making that game had. And, yeah. So those are a couple of different things that I work with on a daily basis, what I've seen, what I know, being out in the world, getting messages from everyday things that I may happen to see on YouTube. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop here. And after you hear these stories, you may be like, wow, why would I want to do what Lori's doing for a living? This is the reality of being a sensitive person. Like, I did not choose this. If you watch the video on my channel, this is things that happened to me over a period of time. I just woke up. I did not choose it. And it's really interesting what happened. Now I try to be neutral about things. Like, I'm not gonna all of a sudden get afraid because something negative is talking to me. I go right to the angels, God, the source of all life. I focus on the source of all life a lot and just be okay. Archangel Gabriel, Michael, whoever, and the source of all life, thank you for blessing me and helping me, you know. And I think that's all I want to talk about for today, guys. But that's the day in the life of what I go through on a regular basis. So tune in for next week and see what happens to me. And take care.